Hey everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm Dan Barefoot, located in Crestline, California.
Happy New Year, Dan, and Feliz Año Nuevo to all of our viewers. I'm MJ and I'm in Bogota, Colombia. You know, Dan, 2024 was such an incredible year for us. We launched World Imaging News and World Imaging News Latino. And now we're kicking off 2025 with something new and exciting. Introducing WinStreamIt.
That's right, MJ. StreamIt is our brand new platform designed for companies to showcase their products online. It's like a dynamic stage for product launches, detailed overviews, and interactive demos.
Absolutely, Dan. And we couldn't be more thrilled to launch our very first session today. We've got some amazing guests joining us from Coldenhove.
Indeed, we're really honored to welcome gijsbert.harmsen and federica.valente, who are joining us all the way from the Netherlands, where Coldenhove is based. MJ, did you know Coldenhove was founded in 1661 as a paper company? And here we are over 3.5 centuries later, with them still leading the way, now in highly technical paper products.
That's amazing, Dan. What a legacy. Well, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce Heisbert and Federica. Today, we'll be getting the inside scoop on Coldenhove's collaboration on the Mimaki TRAPIS system. But before we get into the details, I'd love to hear about your professional journeys. Could you each tell us about your background and what led you to work in this industry?
Hello, everybody. I'm Federica. I work for Coldenhove 7 years now. And since the very beginning, I was fascinated by this dynamic environment and market. In my role, I took care of different product launches, and within my position, I try to look and match the customer needs and the market demands with our next development and with our next product. So it's always nice and interesting to see how our products help and contribute to the designs of the colorful textile in this market.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, or I guess we got viewers from all over the world.
All over.
I'm the guy with the difficult name. My name is gijsbert Harmsen, working for Coldenhove now a little over 35 years. Initially, I was a part of the team who introduced the digital dye sublimation paper to the market, which started 28 years ago. And now I'm responsible for parts of the world in sales and also part of the project team who is introducing this new pigment transfer paper called Textile. And I'm very happy that we can be on this presentation. Dan and MJ, thank you.
We're so excited to have you here today. I mentioned before that I met Gijsbert maybe a number of years ago in Brazil, and have seen him around the world at many trade shows. So it's great to have you both here today. Thank you for those insightful insights into your careers. Now let's turn to the main topic of our discussion, Coldenhove's role in developing Mimaki's innovative TRAPIS system. We're looking forward to hearing the behind-the-scenes story of this collaboration. Please tell us all about it.
Well, maybe I would like to start with that. In the introduction, you said that Coldenhove is a company that stands for many years, and maybe what is interesting to say is that Coldenhove was actually the inventor of the digital transfer paper. So back when Gijsbert was my age, I think. So it's very nice that we are sitting on the same chair right now. So talking about a technology that is not yet existing, and we are pioneering that. So we are introducing something that is not yet in the market, and that has, of course, his highlights and his downside as well. So what we want to do with this presentation, what we would like to do is to start from the very beginning. You said we are going to tell about the scoop and the behind story of this development. Well, the thing is that in this development, the very first thing that's been introduced was the paper. And that's what Coldenhove is all about. And then we had to find a way to use this paper. So we started, looking for key partners. But what is it? The paper that everybody is talking about is the paper that is in this technology. So we have a few slides, and we would like to walk you through it, and get a little bit more familiar with this product. So Textile is the pigment transfer paper that is used in the TRAPIS system. And what is this paper? So let's refresh what the process is. So this is a step that everybody is familiar with. So you think of a design, colors, lines, graphics, and how do I transfer this design into a textile, and which textile? Well, with this technology, you don't have to choose the textile anymore because you have a wide variety of textile, but you need to find the way how to transfer it. So with the textile paper, you transfer this. You first print the design on the paper. Like, it's very similar to the sublimation process, let's say. So you first print on the transfer paper and then you sublimate. Here again, you first print on the transfer paper and then you transfer the image via a calendar into the textile, and the result is a nice and bright and colorful print. But what is different? So before we started this development, printing on substrate transfer printing on substrate was possible with sublimation on polyester substrate or blend. But with Texco, you can actually print on natural fabrics and many more. We will see later in this presentation what are these many more substrates you can print on. So it's really the paper that has this technology, that allows to print on a different substrate. And we would like to show you a little bit more about this technology. So, what is Texco pigment transfer printing? I'd like to give the word to Gijsbert, otherwise I will speak the entire presentation.
Thank you, Fede. Thank you. Yeah, what is Textile pigment transfer paper? It is a paper which is designed to be printed on a digital printer with pigment textile ink. So the pigment textile inks, which are also sometimes used for direct printing, you can also use this for printing on paper. And this paper has a very thick multiple coating layer. And this coating layer is transferring on a calendar during the transfer process to natural fibers. And as you said, Federica, there's a multiple of textiles, so you do not have to limit yourself to only cotton, but there are many, many more, which we'll come back to a little bit later. As is also in the presentation, the technology and the paper are both patented. Coldenhove, as we said before, is the inventor of digital dye sublimation paper, and now we're trying to make a revolutionary new technology, a new paper, which is now also suitable for natural fibers, which is something that didn't exist in the market so far. Maybe go to the next slide, please. Yeah, why use Textile? Yeah, of course, first reason is it is new. So a paper that you can print on and then roll-to-roll transfer to natural fibers or blends or any other textile wasn't available. And of course, the paper itself has all the characteristics which would normally be in a coating for textile. So where for the direct printing, you would need a pre-treatment on the textile because it has to have an ink receptive layer. This is now only coating for the paper. So you do not need any let's say, environmental unfriendly steps to prepare textile ready for digital printing, because all of this is already in the paper, which makes it a rather sustainable process. Also, a little slide a little later in the presentation, we'll come back to that. Therefore, it's cost efficient because the steps are really simple. You print, you transfer, you're done. So it's a very cost efficient process. It's very easy. As you said, 2 steps. Flexibility of the choice of textiles. Cotton is not the only one. Also linen or wool or silk, or there are many other textile grades which can be decorated with the help of textile paper. This shows a little bit the process of the textile. And we try to simplify it as much as possible. On the left-hand side, you see step 1 and step 2. Those are the steps with textile. Those are the steps to print paper, put it on the calendar, and you're done. So after the transfer process on the calendar, there are no further steps required. There's no extra fixation or steaming or washing or whatever, which often has to be done with direct printing. So we mentioned that as a step 3 and 4. And of course, there are many other printing processes, for instance, with reactive ink, which requires even much more steps. And the beauty of the whole textile technology is that we can almost reach the colors which you can also achieve with reactive inks. So with a pigment ink, we can almost reach the colors of a reactive ink. And of course, we can reach the colors which are achievable with dye sublimation. But just to give you an idea about what we could do in this market. Federica, do you maybe want to explain a little bit about this?
Yes, so when we mentioned different technology, and of course comparing this technology with other existing technology is a little bit challenging because it's a different way of printing. But we compared it with a similar technology in the market with the same type of inks. So what about direct printing? Well, one of the first thing you see in this slide is this nice graphic of the absorption of the inks in the textile. What we've discovered is that with direct printing, you need much more inks to achieve that brightness and that the color gamut. To compare pigments to other technology, and we took as a benchmark reactive because we are talking about textile like natural fibers, and we are opening up many more possibilities, so we took that as a benchmark. What does that mean? Not only the absorption is much higher and you need more inks, but you also need the treatments as Gijsbert mentioned before. So you need to treat the textile, and you need some treatments at the end of the process. Also, often we see that the results of this technology might look desaturated. You want to achieve that brightness, you want to achieve that contrast of colors and the deep black. One other thing is, as we mentioned before, because there are many steps involved in this technology, it's much more difficult to enter this market. So you need more knowledge, you need more people that are constantly looking at it, you need more quality steps, because more steps require also more quality checks. And we see that this is different with textile. And also, when you start with one technology, you need to pick a textile and you need to optimize that technology on that textile. But with textile, you can access many more textile with the same technology. So in the next slide, we will look what's the difference in the textile product. Just hold on, it's loading. I will start telling a little bit in the meantime. So one of the very first things is you don't need pre or post treatment. So you take a fabric, a textile, and you choose the one that you prefer. It can be cotton, linen. We also did some testing with blends, so maybe 80% cotton and 20% lycra or elastan, or we even tested with bamboo textile or with silk. So what I'm trying to say is that you can really experiment on with different textiles, and you don't need to pre-treat the textiles. You can achieve a larger color gamut, and while achieving that, so with same results, you save up to 50% inks. Do you guys see the slide already, or?
Yes, all good.
Okay, perfect. So in this slide, you see that actually the inks are sitting on top of the textile. And that's what makes this technology, and what I saw a question in the chat. I hope this answered the questions as well. So what happens during the transferring process is the inks are transferred on the textile, are binded with the textile, not into the textile, and that's what's different compared to sublimation. So in the sublimation process, the inks are trapped into the textile. It's a chemical process, and it's the nature of the textile that makes that happen. And with cotton, that's not possible. It's just a different type of technology. But the ink sits on top, and that's also what makes it so bright. And you have no absorption. You don't have to think about the fabric. You don't have to treat the fabric later, wash it, steam it, soften it. So that's really the difference. So this, I hope this explains it a little bit and answers the question. You want to add anything to it, Gijsbert?
No, I think what you said is very true. Of course, what you do need. So we said you need a digital printer with textile pigment inks. One of the questions just sent in was also, is it possible to use neon inks? Yes, you can use neon inks as long as they are textile pigment inks. And then you transfer this on a calendar to get the result that you just mentioned, that the ink stays on top. You need a pressure on a calendar. That is something which is essential. So the beginning of the system, when the paper and the textile go into a calendar, you need a pressure bar. That is essential, because this pressure bar will give it not only the fastnesses that you require in rubbing, in washing, in the whole shebang, but also the soft hand. So also the grip of the textile is determined by the pressure in the first step of the calendaring process. And for the next slide that we have, we'll have a couple of different types of textile which we have all tested. Yeah, as said, this varies from cotton, 100% cotton. And to be honest with you guys, I never knew that there were so many grades of cotton and so many variances also in cotton and blends, and which is awesome. But not only the cotton works with the textile technology, but also the nylon, as you see, the blends. We tested synthetic leather, which is also working. So there's a very wide variety of products that you can provide to your customers. So no longer limitation to polyester blends, but a very wide variety of products. And that's the goal. That's exactly the goal that what we were achieving for. Get a new process that didn't exist for a new market, which allows our customers to have more business, to make more money. That's the goal.
Before we go to the next slide, I see some questions. I don't know if our moderators are allowing us to answer, but I would say let's wait for later to answer all of them. But maybe I have a question for you, since you're asking a lot of questions. Have you ever heard transfer process on silk and in 2 steps? So I think that for me was like really mind-blowing. What? Transfer printing on silk in 2 steps? So yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take over this slide. We talked about sustainability, we talked about Textile and the process being a sustainable solution. And reason for that is that waterless, you have less steps in the process, you have less machinery, so also less energy consumption, less water involved, so no steaming, no washing. You can use it with different fabrics, so you don't have a different technology, a different machine for a different fabric. But what we also want to briefly mention here is that it's also important how you manufacture the paper. And we are not only promoting the products as a sustainable solution, but we are also looking at how we can make at corporate level, at Coldenhove products in a way that is a little bit more sustainable. So just to align the product to the company goals, we also look at how to recycle and close the loop with water. So yes, we use a lot of water to make paper, but we also at this moment reuse 90%, 95% of this water, and the rest of it is or used with other paper factories, because we have very good connection with other paper mills that are around the area. And we are aiming to really close this loop, so to have no water wasted while making the product. And on the other side, the energy and the warmth that we use, we also try to reuse that within the company or to the offices around the facility. And we also use the water to warm up other buildings and the swimming pool around the. There is a swimming pool close by where the factory is, and so we give the warmth to them as well. But now going quickly back to the product, we also wanted to talk about what are the market possibilities and where is the market for this product. So I think, Gijsbert, you are the best person to speak about this.
Yeah, maybe one small step back is when we introduced this Textile paper, we were very fortunate that a couple of companies, very well respected companies, saw the potential of this technology. One of them is Mimaki. Mimaki came to us, and we had a very good conversation about how can we reinforce and help each other to make this technology work. So the cooperation with Mimaki is extremely well, which led to them introducing the TRAPIS system, which is also part of this presentation, of course. And Mimaki developed an ink. Mimaki has a printer. And they are also allowed to sell the paper, so as a combination. And this is working really well. So we have gathered a couple of companies around Coldenhove as being one of the leaders in the production of technical printing papers. Mimaki is one of them. Also, of course, two calendar companies, which are very well respected, which are Cliveric and Monte Antonio in Italy. They also the possibilities of the technology, and all stepped in and said, "Hey, we would like to be a part of this, and we see where you guys are going or where you want to go." And if you look at this little graph that we have over here, this was one of the reasons to develop a paper for pigment textile inks. On the traditional printing method, the pigment is by far the largest. So a lot of pigment printing is done in a traditional way, and all the others are less. If you look at it from digital printing technology point of view, pigment is super small. It's only a few percent, and as everybody knows, dye sublimation is more than 50. Well, we would like to see these two graphs being at the same level in, let's say, 4 or 5 years from now. And that Coldenhove as paper mill introduced and started digital dye sublimation printing, being the blue line, and that we also want to do the same with pigment textile inks. This is our goal. And as said before, we want to enable our customers to present a broader choice of textiles to their customers. So not limited anymore to polyester blends with dye sublimation inks. No, there's something new. And yeah, that's what we're working for. If you look at a possible addressable market, when we started, we thought it will be limited to home textile. Because fashion, that's a very high volume. Home textile would suit much better, and online personalization also, of course. But soon we also discovered that our customers see it much wider, much broader than we do. They see much more opportunities, and we learn new applications. What is it, Feder? Almost on a weekly basis, that we
Yes.
hear new applications that they bring to us, like the synthetic leather, like the activewear, like the stretchy nylon and lycra, and that we expected like, not sure if it's going to work, but yeah,
It
it is
works.
received really, really well. So yeah, I think there will be much more. In a year from now, when we look back, we say, okay, we didn't expect all these applications to work with the technology. And it is created by doing. It is created by sending out printed paper or rolls of paper, having the right calendar, and just test it in your own environment with the products that you produce, and which you would think like, hey, I also want to try this on a nylon or a lycra or cotton or linen or a wool or whatever. Yeah.
And basically, that's also the goal of this presentation as well. We want to get people excited about the possibilities that this technology can give. So something that you didn't think it was possible before, and now you're like, okay, but maybe I can print this substrate with this technology. And we, for example, recently discovered that this technology could be suitable for denim. So every now and then we receive a request, and we help the customer, or we help the partner to find out more possibilities to print on a substrate.
Yeah. Yes, as you can probably sense, we are super enthusiastic about the technology, about what we are about to develop together with our customers. And yeah, we can't wait. We can't wait to be in touch with everybody and build this market together. We as paper produce together with printer producer, together with calendar ink, to build up this market. And there are a few questions in the chat. One of them, the application temperature. Um, it depends on the type of textile, which is also indicated on the question already, because as everybody knows, nylon has a low melting point. So you have to go down in temperature a little bit. Roughly, we say that around 180 degrees Celsius, and I'm not so quickly in transferring that into Fahrenheit. I'm sorry for that. At about 180, which is a little lower than the average for dye sublimation, 10 degrees Celsius lower, more or less. And then for nylon, you should go down a little bit further and just lengthen the time. Is there a limit to the total amount of ink? At the end, the limit is the capability of the paper to absorb the ink and to dry. So you print on the coating layer, then the ink is drying, and that can be a limiting factor. But we have seen that with the use of textile paper, you can reduce the ink considerably and get the same results. We've done a lot of testing with different printing procedures. Reduction of pigment textile ink up to 50% and still get the same result is possible. As Federica indicated, the
Yeah,
ink
maybe
stays on top.
yeah,
Right.
that's a very interesting question, because sometimes we see that our customers are used to put a lot of inks in the paper to achieve a certain color gamut. So if you need to achieve that black, that deep black, or the contrast with light and dark colors, we see that they are used to put a lot of inks. Uh, the ink load is very high. But what is interesting about this process is that you can achieve that result using less ink. So you don't have to worry about using a lot of inks, or sometimes that can cause into drying issues, as Gijsbert mentioned. But it's about testing, because you soon will find out that to achieve that result, you don't need that much ink. And that's where also we like to work together with the customers and to start with the testing to see where we can help you out achieving the result.
Yeah, correct. The pressure is also a question which came along. We have tried to do this technology on a normal calendar, and we would love for it to work, but unfortunately, it didn't. We did a lot of tests, but you need the pressure to get, as said before, the fastnesses and also the grip, the hand of the textile. It should still feel as a textile. It shouldn't be like a plasticky layer or something like that. Therefore, you need the pressure. We also tested vacuum presses, also did not work. What you need is the impulse pressure in the beginning of the system. So a lot of pressure by a small rod, which is pushing the coating and the pigment, the textile pigments, into the top layer of the textile. So unfortunately, you do need a calendar with pressure bars.
What I want to add to this, though, is that we work together with Monty and with Cleaverick. So the beauty of what they've developed is that the calendar that is necessary for this technology is also suitable for the sublimation process. So potentially, if you are confronted with, like, am I going to invest in this technology? The nice thing is that once you've invested, you can also use the same machinery for another process. And that's kind of an incentive as well.
Just a very interesting question was addressed. Are there any certifications to the product? As paper producers, of course, we are FSC certified, which means that only trees are used which are specially planted to produce paper from. But the technology, not only patented, but also we have the Ecotex certificate on the paper, which is something we appreciate a lot. Thank you for this question.
And something that our customers appreciate as well.
Yeah.
And maybe to add to that, since we talked about the TRAPIS system and we are collaborating with Mimaki on that, their ink are also Blue Sign certified, which is one of the most stringent certification for inks. So again, it kind of fits our goal to have that mindset and have our products that are aligned with the same goal.
Yeah. Also, another very interesting, a very good question which was posted is, what about white inks for colored fabrics? Really good question. At this moment, the textile technology is suitable for light colored textiles. And the reason of that is the coating, which is transferred onto the textile, is transparent. So on those places where there shouldn't be any ink or there is no ink, you will see the original color of the textile shining through. We are working together with Mimaki to also apply the whiting. So you have a barrier layer, and then on top of that, that's something we are working on. But yeah, as Fede said in the beginning, it's a new technology. It's brand new. So this is something which is evolving. We are working on that.
A couple of the questions that came in, how can people buy the paper? Will it come through Mimaki, or how will the paper be sold?
We have the agreement with Mimaki that if customers are Mimaki customers, it stays a Mimaki customer. So they will be supplied by Mimaki. And the big advantage, of course, is that Mimaki has not only the printer and the ink, but also can supply a calendar and the paper. So you have a one-stop shop, which also can provide all the service, if so required, by all the local branches. Next to that, people can always approach us also directly, of course. But as said, if it is a Mimaki customer, then Mimaki is the one to supply it.
Another question that came up was, what is the washability? You know, that you focused on the home decor market. In the apparel market, that is probably more of an issue.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, the washability, and I'm quickly looking at my little cheat sheet. The washability, yeah, it. The difficulty with washability is that it's hard to give an exact number of
Really
washes
is.
of,
Yes.
because it determines so much on the quality of the textile.
Type of textile as well, like how many times do you wash silk and how do you wash silk? Do you just wash it at what temperature or how many times? It's very difficult. It's a very difficult parameter to work with. So what we've done actually is we tested the washability via an independent lab, and normally they work with blue grades and gray scale. Gijsbert, if you have your data sheet there, please help me out. With that test, which should be a test that it's understandable for everybody, we actually scored pretty high. But again, we need to see it case by case and textile by textile, because everything depends on what substrate you're transferring on.
Okay.
Yeah. The result was a 4.5 as an average on washability. And just to mention a couple of other numbers, the rubbing is also, when we first introduced this and we went to potential customers, the first thing they did is feel it and rub it with their nails to see what's coming off. And the wet rubbing, we have a 4 out of 5, and dry rubbing is 5 out of 5.
It's very
But
good.
then I have to add, it is also quality, textile quality. It plays a huge role in that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for answering the questions and, of course, for the presentation. It's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Anyone has
having us.
other questions, please reach out to us via our email address, because we're always happy to answer new questions.
Yeah. You can also find us on the Coldenhove website, just coldenhove.com, and you will find us.
Yeah, if you go to
Great.
contact, look for a guy with silver hair and a big smile. That's Gijsbert.
Yes. We've seen him on the website for sure.
Thank you very much. So really, what a fascinating story, Dan. I knew Coldenhove was an
Sure
important
is.
participant in the TRAPIS system, but now that we have the inside scoop, we know they are an integral part.
You know, this has been such a great story. And the exciting part is that StreamIt has many more sessions like this planned for the future. For companies interested in participating in StreamIt, hey, what's the best way to get involved?
It's quite simple then. Companies can reach out to us via email@worldimagineers.com or contact us directly through our website.
Thank you, MJ. And thanks to everyone who joined us for today's StreamIt session, especially Gijsbert and Federica. If you haven't already subscribed to Win Quick News, our weekly newsletter, I encourage you to sign up on our website. And please visit us at www.worldimagingnews.com and
worldimagineerslatina.com.
And that's the StreamIt, folks. I'm Dan Barefoot.
And I'm MJ.
Until next time, stay healthy and keep smiling.
Manténganse saludables y sigan sonriendo.